Number 17. The Hub. This is a love letter, not a romantic one, but a love letter nonetheless. If I consider your life as a wheel of which you were the hub, I believe everybody you ever encountered moved along its spokes. You reserved space at your hub for those you held dear. Over the years, the universe propelled your wheel and diverse people traveled the length of your spokes. Some were close to the hub for a short time. Others stayed perpetually on the outer edge, mere danglers. As a child, you were always large for your age, a big little boy. This came in handy when it was time for sports and buying beer. Yet early on it was a challenge. People assumed you were older than you were. This often thwarted the innocence of your childhood. By age 10, you were doing manual jobs alongside grown men. You were not just the apple of our mother's eye, but you rocked her world. Dad was incredibly proud of you, his big, strapping, hard-working boy. Our young parents worked diligently to provide for us. They proudly purchased our family home on the highway before I was born. You were almost 5 when they brought me home. Their $1 million family was complete, minus the million, of course. You took to the role of big brother as well as could be expected and handled the inconvenience with dignity. As a kindergartner, I was the smallest child in school, and many times I clung to you to avoid being swept away by the wind. Your sheer size was my stabilizer. What different visions we had of the world. You were at least a head taller than most, and I was, as you put it, doomed to be a short ass. It was a straining and strenuous undertaking to look up at you. I believed your line of sight spread clear across our province. During my first spring of school, as I made my way to the afternoon bus, the thick mud immobilized me. I was in a full-fledged tantrum as I teetered, trying to avoid falling face first in the muck. You got off the bus, plucked me out, and plunked me in my seat. Everyone on the bus cheered. I was relieved I did not get gobbled up for good, but was petrified, knowing the muck had got one of my boots. You took the heat at home for the missing boot. I fretted for days on end over its grisly fate. I was haunted by images of it getting devoured by mud maggots. It was you who first showed me maggots and explained, "Things that die turned into maggot stew." Not wanting to pester you, I kept my worry to myself. After all, if not for you, I would have been maggot stew. Our early years were full of wholesome eating, and you sure took in loads of food. Our mother knew you had to fill that big hollow leg of yours. We always ate together at the table, and lucky for you, my gullibility never faded. You were what our family dubbed a pro-scoffer, because not only could you gulp food quickly, you would also steal food. You were particularly proficient at grabbing food off my plate when I was not looking. You often proudly told me, "My outstanding pro-scoffing is the reason that I am gigantic and you are runty." We were not idle as kids, but busy with gardens, backyard ice rinks, school, church, outdoor play, sports, and family gatherings, and of course, hard manual work was a requirement. We were accustomed to expending our fair share of elbow grease. You started to demand your independence from me after the movie incident. Our parents made you accompany me to the theater to watch one of the famous films in which a dog is the hero. During a particularly dramatic scene when the dog seemed in imminent danger, I could not contain my emotions. I burst out of my chair, flailing my arms and bellowing tearfully, "Run, doggy, run!" That was the last straw for you. You moved me out of your hub and into the position of a dangler. Close to that time, many of our female cousins were talking about how many children they would have. You were the only young male I can recall saying the same. One day, while you were escorting me across the highway to the general store, you predicted our futures. You were going to do two particularly important things in life: be a good dad and an NHL All-Star player, whereas I was going to be an alcoholic type, a mentally ill mess. There was much truth in your predictions. You are a dearly loved, irreplaceable, and responsible dad. I commend you for all your diligent work over the years. You blazed a bright path as the first man in the family to achieve a university degree. The picture of you in your number 62 jersey is well known, as it should be. Getting scouted at university to the CFL is a commendable accomplishment. Going to England to work at integrating North American-style football was groundbreaking, even if it did not catch on. Upon your return, you planted roots in a province known for its historical beauty. There you worked at its prestigious university and later taught at a high school. Of course, through it all, there was you and hockey, yet clearly there was no time for the NHL. Our text message talks in your last few months were gratifying. We were at ease, reminiscing over the silly antics of our childhood days. The fan thingy, boots poo, toothpaste trouble, home haircuts, mysterious empty pies, the shrine of a dining room, the terror chainsaw trick, and of course, your trademarked pro-scoffing. I went by the site of our old house the other morning. It is a convenience store now, and the old general store that used to be kitty corner to it is long gone. In the new one-stop shop store, I purchased a bag of chips, for which I paid $1.89. The bag contained about half as much as the 10-cent bags we used to buy. Everything on the shelves in the one-stop shop had a thin layer of dust on it. All the signage hung slightly sideways. The garden center where you worked your first job is fenced off and going out of business. When I was old enough to cross the highway on my own, you and our parents sternly warned me never to walk west up the road from where the general store was. My strict limit was the southwest-facing corner. I heeded the warnings and stayed clear of the forbidden line, fantasizing all sorts of horror loomed beyond the incline. During my recent visit, I walked west up the slope and, much to my dismay, discovered a meticulously kept graveyard on the decline. I wish you and our parents were buried there. The day years ago when you predicted our futures, I thought you were talking meanly out of spite because I was given all the empty beer bottles to take back. They were worth a substantial sum. Years later, when I learned the dynamics of a nuclear family, I knew you were merely coping with the situation we were in. The term nuclear family seemed to fit us especially well. We had our share of sordid shadows to contend with. Part of your prediction of me was prophetic. I do have mental health diagnoses. While you were dealing with your own nuclear aftermath, you failed to watch me and chose to keep me connected to your hub only as a dangler. I successfully accepted treatment several decades ago and am a loving, gentle-spirited woman who lives one hell of a healthy lifestyle. As the only one left in our family, I feel duty-bound to keep gently reaching out to your children. Be assured, I'm here for them when fate deems it prudent. Now, in your physical absence, those close to your hub are going to feel as though their own wheels have stopped turning, for grief paralyzes. Yet, love lingers, and just as you picked me out of the mire all those years ago, in the days to come, tributes to your strength, gumption, and sportsmanship will be soaring. Rest in peace. Your wheel will not be forgotten. Yours, Joey. P.S. Thank you for taking care of the details when our parents died.
Subscribe, like, and share to support this channel.